Most people think birds just pass through. They land, they leave, they move on. But some birds return to the same window, the same corner of the yard, the same quiet spot where you sit when the world feels heavy. And they come back not once, not twice, but again and again, as if they know exactly where to find you. If you've ever had a bird show up in a moment that felt like more than coincidence, in a moment when you needed something and didn't know what, this video is about those birds and what they may already know about you that you haven't let yourself believe. Welcome back to Wild Yard Mind. Subscribe before you leave, because what you're about to learn changes the way you see every bird that returns to your yard. Today, we're going inside what it actually means when a bird keeps choosing you, the science behind it, what the bird already knows about you, and what it may be trying to tell you. Stay until the end, because the last thing we cover is the part most people find impossible to forget.
1. It isn't random, and it never was. A bird's world is built on pattern recognition. Every yard in your neighborhood is a map in its mind. Which feeders are reliable, which windows are dangerous, which humans move slowly, and which ones startle. It has been reading your yard longer than you know. Your schedule, your movement, the way you open the back door. Every single visit has been filed. And at some point, without you realizing it, your bird made a decision. It decided you were worth returning to. Not the yard, you. Research on wild birds in suburban settings has confirmed that individual birds, not just crows and jays, but chickadees, wrens, cardinals, develop what scientists call associative memory specific to humans. They don't just recognize your yard, they recognize your face. And once that recognition forms, they come back to it deliberately.
2. It has been watching you longer than you've been watching it. Here is what most people miss. By the time you notice a bird coming back repeatedly, it has already been doing it for weeks. You only register the pattern after it repeats enough times to feel impossible to ignore. But the bird registered you on the second or third visit. It made its assessment, quietly, while you were looking at something else. It watched how you moved, whether you reached toward it or gave it space, what your presence felt like over time. And then it came back. This is not passive behavior.
Investigative orientation, the deliberate act of positioning to observe a specific individual, has been documented in species most people consider simple. The bird that keeps appearing on the branch nearest to where you stand is not there by accident. It has chosen the closest safe position to you that it can hold. 3. Other birds in your yard already know about you. The bird that chose you didn't keep it to itself. This is the part that surprises people most. The alarm calls and contact calls that move through your yard are not background noise. They carry information. When your bird sees you approach and stays calm, doesn't call, doesn't flush, just shifts its weight and watches, every bird within earshot receives that signal. Your presence has been vouched for. Your reputation in your yard is not held by one bird. It is held by all of them. What feels like a single bird choosing you is actually something larger. You have been accepted into the sensory network of your yard. The collective verdict of every animal that's been watching you from the brush. 4. What it means when it keeps coming back. There is a point past which a bird's return is no longer about food or shelter or familiarity with a landmark. At some point, it becomes something harder to name. Researchers studying long-term human-bird relationships in backyard settings have noted that certain individual birds develop what can only be described as a preference for proximity to a specific person, not the yard in general, the person. You may have already felt this without knowing what to call it. The bird that lands closer than any bird should, the one that tilts its head and holds your gaze a second too long, the one that seems to appear specifically when you sit outside in the quiet. That bird has placed you at the center of its known world.
That is not a small thing.
5. And if it came in a moment of grief? I want to say this carefully because it deserves care. The belief that a returning bird carries the presence of someone gone, a loved one, a person who once sat in the same yard, is one of the oldest and most widely held experiences in human life. It crosses every kind of line. It is not fringe. Millions of people have had the same feeling and reached for the same words. What science can tell you is this: the birds in your yard are watching you with a depth of awareness most people have never been told about. The idea that their behavior might be shaped by things we don't yet have instruments to measure is not something science has ruled out. It is something science hasn't finished asking.
Tell me in the comments, has a bird ever come back to you in a way that felt like more than coincidence? What bird was it, and what was happening in your life? I read every one of those stories, and I carry them. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for watching this video. If you're enjoying the video, do not forget to like and subscribe. Okay, bye bye.